Court hear his case. And tragically, that request has been denied. And that is the court of last resort, as it is described. It is the last step in our criminal justice system. That means that Crosley's conviction will be reinstated. And that also means that Crosley, who has been out of prison for the last 2 years because a lower federal court found that he had been wrongfully convicted and unconstitutionally convicted. He was released and has been under the supervision of the Federal Probation Office, but being able to be with his family, being able to go to work, being able to attend church for these last 2 years. But it is likely that now the state may certainly request and, in fact, demand that he return to prison now that his conviction will be reinstated. That's why this is a tragic day, not just for Crosley Green, not just for the Green family, but for all of us who have faith in the criminal justice system, and all of us that believe that our Constitution demands that every man, every woman who is accused of a crime receive a fair trial. Crosley did not receive a fair trial. And one court found that way, but others have not, and now the Supreme Court will not hear any more about his case. But I want to share with you for a moment the tremendous support that Crosley Green has received in his efforts and his fight for justice. And it really is extraordinary, but I think it speaks not just to this case, but to this man. Usually when a case of this sort, a wrongfully convicted person who is imprisoned, when it goes to the Supreme Court, it's usually just that request, just that petition. But here, there were not one, not two, not three, but there were 4 additional requests for the Supreme Court to hear Crosley's case. 4 additional briefs were filed. And it really is quite amazing at this stage. One brief was filed by a number of former prosecutors, because Crosley's case is about more than just the fact that he was wrongfully convicted. It's about what happened. It was a prosecutor who withheld critical evidence, evidence that would have been important to the jury to hear, evidence that would have resulted in a fair trial had it been disclosed. And there were a number of prosecutors, when they heard about this case, they wanted to lend their voices in support not just of Crosley, but of our criminal justice system. And these are folks with decades of experience. And actually, the list of prosecutors is too long for me to read here, but I will tell you one of them was not only a former assistant U.S. attorney, not only a former district court judge, but a former Third Circuit Court of Appeals judge, the Honorable Timothy Lewis. So this gives you an example of the types of prosecutors who believed that such a wrong had been done here that the Supreme Court should hear this case. But it doesn't stop with prosecutors. State court judges from a number of states in the South and in the Midwest, they filed a brief in support of Crosley's case. Now imagine, state Supreme Court judges filing a brief with the U.S. Supreme Court asking the Supreme Court to hear his case. And I am going to read the names of those judges. The Honorable Oliver Diaz, Justice, former Justice, Supreme Court of Mississippi. The Honorable Wallace Jefferson, former Justice and former Chief Justice, Supreme Court of Texas. Marcia Turnus, former Justice, former Chief Justice of the Iowa Supreme Court. The Honorable Penny White, former justice of the Tennessee Supreme Court. And the Honorable Michael Wolff, former judge, Supreme Court of Missouri, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Missouri. These justices of their state Supreme Court thought that Crosley's case was so important that they appealed to the Supreme Court to support Crosley and support not just Crosley, but the concept of justice that resulted in Mr. Green not receiving a fair trial. There was also a number of law professors, one of whom is here today, Professor Nunn, but over 100 law professors raised their hands requesting that the Supreme Court hear Crosley's case because of what it means for the criminal justice system in our country. And finally, there's an organization, a nonprofit, bipartisan organization called the Due Process Institute that focuses on issues with regard to constitutional due process. They thought independently that Crosley's case was a case that screamed out, cried out for justice. So they too asked the Supreme Court to review Crosley's case. But unfortunately, the Supreme Court denied all of those requests. But I want to thank all of the many lawyers, numerous law firms wrote these briefs. They weren't written by us, by our firm, but all the lawyers and all of the law professors and all of the former prosecutors and all of the state Supreme Court judges and justices that believed in Crosley's case. I want to take a moment to thank them. I also want to take a moment to thank some other folks that have been steadfastly in Crosley's corner throughout. At the top of that list are two former Brevard County police officers, Officer Clark and Officer Rixey. They, from the beginning of this case, believed that Crosley was innocent. They told everybody that they knew, including the prosecutor who wrote it down on a piece of paper, that Crosley did not commit this crime, and they have been steadfast in their support. I want to take a moment to share with you, in just a moment, I could go on for a while, but I won't, about who Crosley Green is. I've come to know Crosley in the 15 years that I've been representing him. But I will tell you that from the first time I met him, which was on Florida's death row, Crosley has not changed. Despite all the ups and downs in his cases, he's been a man of great faith, a man focused on family, and a man of great character from the very beginning. I want to take a moment to talk about the impact that Crosley has had on others. And he's always thinking about other folks. But he has had a terrific impact on people, and they have come to support him. In fact, I want to take a moment to refer to a declaration that was filed by one of Crosley's wardens. Now, Crosley's the type of person, when he was in prison, he garnered so much respect from those correction officers that he worked with that they also supported his efforts. When he was resentenced, 3 of the correctional officers that guarded Crosley when he was on death row came to testify on his behalf about what a fine and upstanding individual that he had been. But not only that, the warden of the last correctional facility that Crosley was in before he was released signed a declaration for the court about Crosley's character. And he said, and I'm quoting, "I wish all of our inmates were like Mr. Green. I have known Mr. Green to carry himself with dignity and respect. I have known him to be respectful of my staff and have a positive attitude despite his incarceration, and that his record is unusual and impressive. I've not seen disciplinary records that are as clean and unblemished as Mr. Green's. 32 years in prison for a crime he did not commit, and he did not have one single disciplinary act." But Crosley is an unusual man. He's a very special man. he's a man whose faith comes first, and that faith is unshakable. He's a man whose family comes second, and that has been his motivation to achieve his freedom, because he is the patriarch of his family. He is the heart and soul of his family. And since he's been out, you can see his family has come back together, and really based on his strength, he's the nucleus of his family. But as I said, he's a man of great character and integrity, and one from whom, I have learned a tremendous amount. But I want everyone to know that the fight for freedom is far from over. Now, one of the things that I also want to bring to your attention is the impact that he has had in his community since in the 2 years he's been out. He's had a great impact on his church, and he's a faithful participant, and he's impactful in his church. And his testimony is unbelievably compelling. But he's also been a model employee. And Crosley's employer, he works for a company here that makes, and Crosley makes and manufactures steel, but it's not just regular steel. This is highly technical composite steel that is used for things like military equipment, nuclear submarines, satellites. They contract with NASA. And this is specialized steel. And Crosley has learned to manufacture this steel. And in fact, he's learned it so well that his employer has said it would be difficult to replace him because he's become such a good and highly skilled technical employee. He says that he's dependable, very dedicated, he's always on time, he's well liked by his employees because he's considerate, friendly, and has a great sense of humor. Given the skills that Mr. Green has developed, it would be a hardship for my company if we had to replace him. He's very good at using our complex machinery with high tolerances and has demonstrated great technical ability. So he's had an impact on his employer, and this is an employee that provides equipment that our military relies on and that our space program relies on. So in the short 2 years that he's been out of prison, he has had an impact on his family, he's had an impact on his community, he's had an impact on his church, he's had an impact on his employer. Everywhere he's been allowed to touch, he's had a positive impact. And as I said, the fight for Crosley's freedom is not over until his freedom is achieved. And now is the opportunity, even though we were not able to find justice in our justice system, it is going to be up to the state of Florida, to do the right thing. We are going to be pursuing parole and pardon and clemency options. We're going to be reaching out to the state, to Governor DeSantis, and working towards finally achieving freedom and justice for Crosley Green. Thank you. I'd like to introduce my law partner, Vince Caluso.
Thank you, Keith. As Keith said, the fight for freedom isn't over until Crosley is free. And there is still time for the state of Florida to do the right thing here. Governor DeSantis has the power to intervene on Crosley's behalf, and we intend to approach him and other state officials to have a conversation about why Crosley deserves to be free, to educate them about the facts of this case which cry out for justice, to educate them about how Crosley was denied a fair trial, to educate them about what a man Crosley is, what a benefit he's had on everybody around him. Just on a personal note, I've been working on Crosley's case since 2009, and he's had a profound impact on me. Just in getting to interact with him here and there, I can't imagine the impact he has on those that he spends time with every day. And we know that Governor DeSantis is a law and order governor. We know that he's passionate about justice, And we hope in these conversations with him and the other state officials, learning about the facts of this case, learning about Crosley as a man, that they will see that justice here deserves to be done. That justice here means that Crosley should go free. Justice here means a recognition that there was a mistake made, that Crosley was not given a fair trial, and that Crosley no longer deserves to be behind bars. No one is served by sending Crosley Green back to jail. Crosley is a man of faith. He's a family man. He's a working man. No one is served by keeping another innocent man from Brevard County behind bars. You see, Crosley Green is not the only victim of prosecutorial misconduct in Brevard County in the 80s and 90s. We'll actually hear from two of them today who suffered a similar fate. William Dillon was wrongfully convicted of murder in 1981. Thankfully, his case was overturned after DNA testing proved he wasn't the murderer. He was released in 2008, but after 30 years in prison. Wilton Dedge was wrongfully convicted of sexual battery, aggravated battery, and burglary in 1982. Thankfully, he was released in 2004 after DNA testing proved he was not at the crime scene, again after nearly 30 years in prison. These are the kinds of patterns that have existed in Brevard County, and we hope to educate the governor and state officials about these, that Crosley is not the only one, that Mr. Dillon and Mr. Dedge are not the only ones. There's still time for the state of Florida to do the right thing here, and we hope that after we educate them about the case, we show them the facts, we show them the man, that they will do the right thing. I'd now like to ask Professor Nunn from the University of Florida. He's Professor of Law Emeritus at University of Florida's Levin College of Law. He's one of the more than 100 professors who submitted a brief in support of Mr. Green's petition to the Supreme Court and has been a faithful supporter of Mr. Green for quite some time. Professor Nunn?
Good morning, good afternoon. Like Attorney Harrison said, it's a tough day for Crosley. It's a tough day for all of us. But most importantly, it's a tough day for justice. Because something happened in this case that shouldn't have happened. And I tell my first-year students when they come in, and they don't believe me, I say, look, innocence is not grounds for appeal. I said, what, Professor Nunn? I said, innocence is not ground for appeal. The fact that you did not commit the crime is not a reason for you to go to a higher court and say, overturn my conviction. There has to be an error that the court made, that the lower court made, for the higher court to come back and overturn that case. Now, that's a flaw. I think most people will agree that's a flaw in our so-called justice system, that we are not concerning ourselves with the fundamental question of whether a person deserves to be in prison or not. And what we're really looking at are these technicalities. But guess what? Here's a man who had a technicality. Mr. Green had a technicality in his case. Mr. Harrison told you that one of the sheriff deputies, two of the sheriff deputies went to the prosecutor, told them that they thought that Mr. Green was innocent. And the prosecutor wrote that down on a piece of paper. Well, Mr. Green's attorneys never saw that piece of paper. There's a case, a Supreme Court case, that's a very important case that we study in criminal procedure, and if you do what's called post-conviction remedies, you study that case as well. It's called Brady v. Maryland. It says very clearly that favorable and material evidence has to be disclosed. The court, the 11th Circuit, which heard his case, got the law wrong. It was clearly wrong. That piece of paper should have been turned over. And I don't want to get into the weeds here talking about why they thought it didn't have to be turned over. But the fact of the matter is that every appellate court that looked at this issue said that it should have been released. And only the 11th Circuit said not. The Supreme Court, looking at that, should have said, this is wrong. The man is innocent. We are going to take this case and set the record right. But they did not. If it had been me, and I had endured all the things that Crosley Green has endured with this case, even that Wilton Dedge and William Dillon have dealt with in their cases, when you are innocent and you are sitting in prison for a crime that you did not do, I would be bitter. I would be angry. I'd be so upset, little lady. But the thing that is most remarkable about working with, I would say, 90% of the people who have been wrongfully convicted in this state, and I've had some experience doing that, is that they are not bitter. They're not bitter because you can't survive for 30 years on bitterness. In Crosley's case, he survived because he found the Lord. He survived because it was his faith that carried him. He is the walking incarnation of what Christian faith is supposed to be. And he is an example for his community. He is an example for the youth. He is an example for all of us. When you look at this man and look at his eyes, and you see the light that shines out of them, light that so few of us have. And so I appeal to you, Governor DeSantis. I know you're a man of faith. I know you care about doing justice and about what is righteous. I urge you to look closely, as the attorneys have said, at the record in this case. But most importantly, look at the kind of man that Crosley Green is. Look at what good he will do in community. In a town like Titusville, where there are people who are feeling the hardship of life, where he can provide teaching and guidance and help steer them away from a life of crime. Wouldn't that be a better use of the years that this man has left instead of sitting in a cell someplace? Governor DeSantis, if you care about justice, if you care about faith, please look carefully at the facts in the Crosley Green case. Look carefully, and I urge you to exercise your power to let this man go home. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Nunn. Now I'd like to introduce William Dillon and Walter Dedge.
Good afternoon, everyone. They've already said a lot about me and my journey and my senses, but Crosley Green's case is exactly the same case. It's so similar you would be amazed at it. I'm here to support him in any way that I can. I personally believe in my heart that he's got a raw deal from every part of the court and the system, because I know the system. I know how they work, what they did, how they process this. And I'm going to appeal to Governor DeSantis myself. As a man that experienced it and spent many years for crimes I didn't commit, through the same people that Crosley's had to go and deal with for his case. And I'm going to appeal to you as a soldier, as a man, and say that you can change this. You can do something about this. And I'm hoping in my heart that you will, because God will guide us in what we need to do here. So please, set this straight. Set this straight. There's no other words. We can sit here and run around and go all around with it. There's no other words. Set it right. And you can do it, Governor. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Wilton Dedge. As all these two people have been wrongfully convicted, I have also. 23 years plus of my life is gone. But I've read through. I really didn't want to do this, I'll be honest with you. I just wanted to forget about it. But the more I read, the more I heard, I just couldn't tolerate it no more. So I'm here definitely to support Mr. Green and all the other people that are in prison being wrongfully convicted. It's time that prosecutors should be penalized for what they do. It's time. This prosecutor immunity needs to stop. When they know they're lying, it needs to stop. And I think our governor, he seemed like a good person. I think he's going to fix this. He's going to show us what kind of man he is. And I swear I want to talk all day. They've brought up so many things I want to talk about, what they did to us, from the dog to the hiding evidence to falsifying evidence. This needs to stop, and they need to pay for it when they know they're doing it. So everybody stick together. Let's get this right. Thank you for your time.
I have one more thing to say. I want to say one more thing. I want to tell Crosley that my heart hurts for him, but just as much, my heart hurts for you as a family. All your family, beautiful family here to represent this. And this is really where the tragedy really is, in all this right here. It's you came into this room. When I saw you come into this room, there was such a light that came into the room. And I said, why is he not angry? Why is he not mad at what it is? And I looked and I seen you walking to me, and I said, smile on your face, and I says, wow, this is amazing. It's amazing. And it feels so good to support you in whatever this is happening. But for the family, my heart is hurting for you. It really is. Tragedy. Total tragedy.
Thank you, gentlemen. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Crosley Green and members of his family. Crosley will speak first, followed by his brother, O'Connor Green, followed by his oldest son, Shuma Stokes, and lastly by his oldest sister, Shirley White. Crosley.
First and foremost, good afternoon. Hey, this day isn't a pleasant day. To me, it's a pleasant day, but it's not a pleasant day to my family and to my friends. Okay? There's a lot to be said here today, and really, in order for me to do that, I'll be taking their time, whoever other time there is to be spoke around. But I want to thank my lawyers, professor. I took out. My two comrades. Thank you. And thank my family. Thank my friends. Now, right now I feel a little weak because it's the love that I get from my family, from people in general like you guys. It hurts me to see you hurt. That's what's hurting me. I'm not hurting me because of me. I'm hurting me because of you all. You all that believe, you all have feelings, and you care. And I want to thank the whole world that's out there has supported me. I want to thank the judges, the other professors, the district. I want to thank everyone out there that has supported me, because it's something I haven't experienced in my life. A bunch of love and caring peoples. And when I get love and caring peoples, it touches me a great deal. I do and would like to say that I am feeling kind of sorry and sad, not for me, but for my family, for what they had to hear today about what has transpired. If it was just me, I can deal with it because I've been through the system just like my comrades. And the system ain't no easy thing to deal with. And it's been mentioned earlier about the years I spent. I wouldn't have never spent them years if it wasn't for the good Lord. That's number one. I was a wreck in the first 3 years there. I was a man angry, determined to get back at peoples and this and that. But after them 3 years, I placed my hand in God's hand. And ever since, like they read your reports and stuff like that, my record has been blemished. I got along with everybody, no matter what. I always just took one step forward, not to the side, not to the back. That's the only way you're going to survive. That's the only way I survived, by doing it just that way. Like I was saying, there is a lot to be said at this time, mainly about my freedom. I love my freedom. The freedom I had in the last 2 years, it's been wonderful. And I know it may not be appropriate or nothing like that, but there's one special little young lady in my life right now. Well, it's two. But this one is really special because her mother was my little girl, because I had no girls. And since I've been home, I got to know my sisters better. My niece, nephews and stuff like that, son, brothers, sisters. I mean, it's been wonderful. I don't want this taken from me now. Believe me, I don't want this taken from me. I want to continue going on like I'm going on. Like you heard, I'm moving forward. I'm not moving backwards. I'm moving forward. I'm not skipping. I'm not sliding off the line or anything like that. And I don't want my freedom taken from me. But if it's necessary, I'm here and I'm willing. I'm able to keep fighting, and keep fighting. That's something I'll never forget. Never give up. Fighting for my freedom. I don't want to take too much time talking about me because I don't feel as like you others with a little Well, I can feel a little sadness come from you all. I can feel a little temperament come from people's, that think about my case. But it's not in me. I don't hate. I don't feel no anger, no whatsoever. Like you just said, every day I wake up, thank the Lord, and just move forward. I go to church every Sunday, and I got my pastor here, I got the evangelist here, and you just don't know, it's been wonderful. And I've grown to really start speaking at the church as well. That just go to show you what and the things I does and what I done came through and beginning to graft more of. Okay, I used to didn't want to go stand up in front of the church and have something to say. You know what I'm saying? But now they say something before they can get it all out their mouth. I'll be ready. I'm going up there and I'm going to say my little piece. I'm giving thanks to the Lord. I'm telling them I'm loving them. And I'm just telling them what a great day I had or a weekend I had and stuff like that. I want this to continue. I wish it would continue. And it will continue one way or the other. It will continue. The Lord going to see that it continue. He's not going to let me down now. He haven't let me down in 33 years. He's not going to let me down now. I know this. It's something that I try to inspire in others as well, that I myself, look at me. Let me back up a little bit. There was a time when, I got to go back 40 years though, there was a time when you couldn't say too much or anything like that to me to upset me. But I've grown into a man now that you think before you make a judgment of anything you do. You look forward in treating others the way you want to be treated. You just want to live to do the right thing and no more wrong. And all of that I have received from the people in this world today, over our country, United States of America, over our country. I have felt a lot of love coming out of that. And that helps me. That really helps me move forward. I'm going to keep moving forward due to that. Soon later, I'm going to be asked a question about how I'm feeling. I'm always asking how I'm feeling about the situation, about this that came down and stuff like that. The first notion in my mind come to of telling the person who asked me that is that, listen, I never knew how many people was out there are for me. That's just like not ever leaving the state of Florida, going to Georgia, because you never know until you go and see it or hear it. But with me learning through my lawyers and stuff like that, the thousands and thousands of people out there pulling for me, praying for me, I mean, it does something to me. I don't know about you guys, but it does something to me. It makes me want to share more love than I could ever share in my life, you know? I want to talk now, if y'all don't mind, to my family. My sister, my brother, my son, my nieces, nephews, stuff like that. Y'all know the verdict. Decisions, stuff like that. I want y'all to be strong. You're all strong. You are strong. I know you're strong. I mean, you got your feelings. Everyone have their feelings, but you're strong. You know, I don't need this to let this bring you down. I want you to hold your head up, continue to fight along with me, the way I'm fighting this, and the way I'm moving through life behind this. You know, it ain't over with. I'm still here with you. No matter what, I'm going to always be with you to the end. I love you, all of you. And this family will never be torn apart, no matter what. Family will stay together. Thank you for now.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And my name is O'Connor Green. I'm Crosley Green's brother. And I would like to say thank everyone for being here today. And I would like to thank all my brothers, lawyers, and all the other people that stuck with my brother with this situation that our family is going through. And I would like to say that during this moment, just spending these last 2 years with Crosley, you really don't know how good that really made our family feel by having Crosley Green home with us. And I would like to say thanks everybody that really stuck by Crosley, because I know he is not guilty for this charge that they're saying that he did. But just like I say, I spent most of my life trying to be a hard person and a hard-working person like him, but I could never reach that goal because he is extremely a hard worker. Taking him from this family, again, you don't know how much hate that this family will go through by not having him there with us. And I would just like to say thank everyone for being here, and thank everyone for believing in Crosley Green. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Y'all give me a minute, please. Bear with me. First of all, I'd like to say God is good. And all the time. Yeah, we're going through some rough times right now. I want to be truthful to y'all. I really ain't know what to say. They asked me would I speak. Like my uncle said, this is a tough pill about the bill. It's like, man, my father came home, you know, we got together, family been in a good place, and now with this decision, it's all back over again. It's like we're going back, you know. But we have to have a positive outlook on things. I like to tell Keith, you and the rest of the team, you know, we appreciate everything that y'all done. Professor, thank y'all for coming out, and to the supporters of Crosley. You know, it's good to know that people out there believe in you, have faith in you, because, you know, when you get behind the walls, man, you feel like, man, you ain't got nobody. I mean, it's a tough field. I know because I've been there. So I'm speaking from experience. And it's amazing how this man did all this time with no bitterness in his heart, and he walks around and he carried this, and it's like it don't bother him. You know, well, you good. You're a strong man. You know, I envy that. I didn't get that from you. I couldn't deal with that. But, you know, I'm learning, and you don't taught me. You know, and maybe because now, well, I always say I love you. You know what I'm saying? So I got a chance to see you, and your grandkids got a chance to see it. But it ain't over with. You know, I'm not like saying it like it's goodbye or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just something that we got to go through. But it's going to be all right. Like you say, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. So I just want to say to the governor, everybody want to say they I don't know. I question our justice system. Can I speak? Can I talk? Y'all say I could talk, so I'm, you know, when you look at a case like this and you question, it's like, how do the justice, where's the justice? In a case like this, I mean, it's self-explanatory. It's right there. So I'm saying this to the governor. Please look over this case. Don't just sweep this up under the rug, because there's too many cases like this that's being swept up under the rug. This ain't the only person that just been done to. As you can see, we have people out here that done been done in the same way. So we need to take close attention, and we need to be serious about this. So I'm just asking, look at this case closely, and keep your faith, man. Keep your faith. Keep your faith. We're going to be all right.
Laughter is good for the soul. Praise the Lord. My name is Shirley White. I'm Crosley Green oldest sister. And I thank God. I thank God for the lawyers that God preserved for Crosley Green today. I thank God for everyone that took the time out from their busy schedule to support the Green family today. It's an honor and a privilege for me to stand up here today. It's an honor and a privilege for me to stand here today and see the love and the joy that my brother have, Crosley Green, with no hate but just love. For the word of God says, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believe in him should not perish but have everlasting life. That's what the word says. And the word don't lie. The word the same today, yesterday, and forevermore. We got to stand on what God says. Right now we hurting. I'm hurting. And nobody can take this pain away from me but God. But if we don't go through nothing, how can we tell someone the story that we have been through? 33 years ago, when my brother was going to court, this state came to me with a plea deal for my brother, Crosley Green. 10 years. I'll never forget the day my brother told me, sister, I'm not taking nothing for what I didn't do. But I begged him to take them 10 years. He'd have been home with us. The house has not been the same since my brother been arrested. My brother's not a violent person. My brother, Crosley Green, he got love beyond love. Y'all see that. When the family get into this dispute, he said, no, I don't want to hear it. We're going to come together. We're going to work it out. That's my brother. He don't pick sides with nobody. He just tell it just like it is. And if we have a problem, he'll say, I don't want to hear that. Just go ahead on now. I'm not going to hear it. My brother had brought us love. He brought us back together again. And for this to be taken away, it's injustice. It's injustice. Where is the justice? Ready for justice, the evidence, everything is right before all of our eyes. From the east, west, north, and south. Governor Sanchez, please look at this case. Turn it around. You got the power. But God got more power than you have, Justice Sanchez. But we're asking you to release my brother. Not just let him have a monitor on. Not just let him just go on one side of the house. But let him be able to visit us, to go fish with us, and do all the other things that we can do. But even now, we meet his error. We go to his house where he at when we know he can't come to us. We go to him. We are a family that stands together. The Bible says, together we stand, divided we fall. And we are standing together as one for my brother, Crosley Green. And I thank you for the photographers. I thank everyone for taking their busy time out just to hear the Green family. Man said we are nobody, but God said in his eyesight we are somebody. And I thank God for y'all taking this time out to listen to the Green family. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, well,
like my sister and my brother and my son were saying, and I'm speaking for the family, we all, not just me and the ones you've heard from, but for those you haven't heard from, we all appreciate the support that you have shown and the love that you have shown to this family, to me. There, like I said, there's a lot to be said about this case, but I am one to not dwell so much on stuff because I don't want to doubt my belief, my faith. When you start dwelling on stuff, that's doubt. You hear me? That's doubt. And I'm not a doubting man. I just want y'all to know that because there is plenty I can say, but I don't want to lead to where it's a doubt. I believe. I still believe.
Amen. Amen.
I still believe. This is the road. Listen, Jesus had to walk his road. Look where he traveled. He done traveled way, way farther than I ever traveled. And he did it by walking. Well, I didn't travel, but I did it by a little riding. You know? So I'm able and I'm willing to keep taking step by step on this walk. Thank you.
thank you, Crosley. Now we'll take questions of members of the media. John?
I have a question for Keith Organs. Is there any way to resubmit to the U.S. Supreme Court in future years if needed? Like Roe versus Wade was challenged every year probably for the last 30 years. Is there other language you can use or other avenues to appeal? Well, that's a good question. The Supreme Court is the last court. It's the court of last resort. It would take something like some new evidence that hadn't been discovered before and couldn't have been discovered before. Something like that to bring it back to the court again. But other than that, I'm not aware of any other avenue of appeal. There's no procedure for the Supreme Court to reconsider a case where it has denied a petition. I think we're at a juncture where the legal system and the criminal justice system is at an end, and now we're in the arena of the state, the governor, the parole board, as the folks who are in the position to do the right thing and to give Crosley the freedom he so richly deserves.
Bill, the two of you had to stay in prison for a while, even after you knew the results and like the good news. If Crosley has to go back, what advice do you have for him for that time period?
If you don't mind coming to the microphone so folks can hear you. Question from John Torres of Florida today. What advice would you have for Crosley?
Because I know that it was like about 3 years, right? After they had the
Almost 5.
almost 5 years after they had DNA evidence that proved you were innocent, and you're still in prison.
Yeah, it's hard to. What do you say? I mean, advice: just try to keep positive, brother. Because just know that we're going to be out here fighting for you. I mean, I've read so much law, probably more than a lot of people have. And we're going to fight for you, man, because like I said, I've tried to forget about it. I worked with the Innocent Project with Tallahassee trying to change laws, and I needed a break. But whenever they called me and told me about your case and I did a little research, it's like I could not come, because I know what you feel like, I promise. And if it wasn't for other people, I'd still be there myself. So know that I'm going to do what I can to help you. Just try to keep a positive attitude, and we're going to see what we can do, brother. Promise.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Yes, I've been free for about 2 years now. I've been on a monitor in which, from the feds, is house arrest is what they call. Now, that is, for anyone don't understand it, it's sort of harsh, It's a harsh thing for them because it's a restricted thing. You only allow certain feet away from the monitor that you got set up in your house. But unfortunately, with me, and I had gotten my family back and was home free with them, if I didn't have to take but 2 steps, it was fine with me. But it is complicated when you got that on, where you can't move around, you can't go there, you can't go that way. It's another form of, in a sense, it's prison, but you're not behind the walls. You got no gate. You just got a binary where how far you can go. That's what it is. And you pay for it. And you pay for it, But with all that said, and that is a great question you asked me, because my family sometimes get a little heartache when I can't come out to the car where they at, tell them they got to get out the car to bring me this. It's because I can't only go so far. And I constantly do that. My brother here, he have problems sometimes trying to move stuff like that, and I be wanting to help him so badly, but I tell him, man, I can't go out there. But I'll be honest with you, when he's hurting, I'll take that step to help him. They know it ain't no big violation, nothing like that. It's just a little step to help him out. I have to do that, you know. But other than that, the son, he comes over. He likes to tease me about it. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, he teases me. I don't see if she in here. Her daughter, she teases me. That's my sister, my niece. They tease me about, oh, you ain't gonna do that. You know. But it's a teasing thing. It's a joking thing, but it's all fun. You know what I'm saying? It's a boundary where I can't cross, and they know the boundary where they can get back and talk trash then. You understand? And get away with it because I can't get to them. But it'd be all fun, and sometimes I look forward to that too, for them to do that. You know, I say, okay, you know, the day is coming. You know, but yes, it's something that really I don't wish no man to have to go through about this brace on your feet, because it does eliminate you of a lot of things you want to do. You can't take the garbage can outside the road, put side the road and stuff like that. You know, it's a lot of things you cannot do because of the brace and stuff like that.
But it ain't free.
There it is. You get it on that shell. Well, you know, dear. You know how it is. Okay. Yeah, it's the feds. No, the monitor has a beeper in it. It lets them know if I'm outside the borderline of where I'm supposed to be. Anytime I cross that line to where no man should stand for this place, it goes off. It sends a signal to the machine that they have, to the office. And what they normally do, they contact me. And it's kind of weird you brought that up, because I had it happen to me a few times, but it was a fake. Now, they do go off fake too now. You understand? And when I say fake, I mean it can just go off. Anything can trip it. You know, I've had calls of where you at, stuff like this. I tell them I'm home. Well, I just got a call. They say you ain't home. I'm home. You know, I'm home sitting in my house and stuff like that. They say, okay, yeah, I check it. You know, so this is my second ban now. The first one I had problems with, but this is the second one. I haven't had any problem with this one. Anything else?
I just wanted to, one moment. I just wanted to make sure I followed up on his question, if that's okay, Crosley. And then
Go ahead.
Is that all right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, sure. You know, you good. You good.
Just to kind of set the field, in 2018, a federal district judge in Orlando granted Crosley's conditional release because of an unconstitutional trial. In 2020, we were able to get his release pending appeal. And so, or 2021? 2021, thank you. April 2021, we were able to get his release pending appeal. So he's been under condition of the federal probation office while his case was continuing in the courts. And then, that's the house arrest, correct? Yeah. So at this point, it's largely up to the state. We have been in contact and will continue to be in contact with the state about what it all looks like. Standing here right now, I don't know what they are going to decide to do or when they're going to decide to do it. But you know, we've been in contact and continue to be in contact with them. I haven't received a phone call yet. I don't think we have. You have something? Yeah. No, nothing yet. Yeah.
ahead, Stan. You have a question? Yes. Man, I can say this to you, Stan, and to everyone around, you know. And my son spoke of it earlier when he said, God is good. You know, truthfully, God is good. Because if God wasn't good, I wouldn't have been able to did all this time I did, came out the man I am today, through the things I was able to do with my family, my friends, and go to church and give him his praise. And I look forward every Sunday of going in and giving him his praise. I thank him for all the time I've spent here free with my family and getting to know peoples and how peoples are, and want to reach out to others, but that's a limit that I can't do. But it's always on my mind to do that. I forgot to add that I do get a little free time, but it's only 3 hours a week. And in those 3 hours a week, I'm supposed to go shopping to get my grocery, go to the clothing store, do all I'm supposed to do right then and there in them 3 hours, and then go back to the house. So I don't have the time to share what the Lord has did for me with others. I do believe if they only knew and hear me tell them from my mouth that what I went through, how I went through it, what carried me through it these last 33 years, it would change or help change a lot of lives. All right? It would, I put it to you this way, it'll make them think. That's what I wanted. I just want to put that thought in them. You know, you can't make no one do nothing. But you can, just like, I forget who mentioned it, you plant that seed and watch it grow. That's what I want to do. I want to be able to plant a seed in the community in something that it should have been done. I think it has been done, but it may have came from people that they really can't understand why they said it. They never went through it. That's where a lot of our younger kids don't take in consideration what the grown-ups say, because when they tell them something and they never had experience, they would look at them and say, well, I don't want it. They never experienced it. But take for me, myself. I didn't experience this life here coming through the system. That's the one thing I want to let these fellas know. That ain't a life. That's not a life. Listen, I feel sorry to see animals caged. You know what I'm saying? I really do. I really feel sorry to see animals caged, because he's confined where he can't do nothing. He eat when they bring him something to eat. You understand? He can't run and play. He can't play with his friends and stuff like this here. There's nowhere for him to go. And that's what it is. You know? Today, I ain't going to just say today, I did a lot of snatching up newspapers when I was in prison. And I read back and what's happening in counties, and I felt real bad. Every time I hear about anyone under the age of 17 that been shot down, stabbed, I think about it. I mean, this man ain't even must live. He ain't even must got life. He ain't seen nothing. That had his life taken. And foolishness, over foolishness. It hurts. I can tell people right now about more killings than they can tell me, and they right around it. because I sit there and I read about it, and I have feelings and thoughts about it, you know, and that's a bad thing. That truly is a bad thing. Anything else? Yes.
Thank you for that question, which was, has a petition for clemency been sent to the governor's office? Not as of yet. We were hopeful that the Supreme Court would take the case. And generally, petitions for clemency are best positioned when the petitioner has exhausted his judicial remedies. And so now we've come to that point. And now the next stage of our journey, which is will be involving the petition for clemency, you know, will begin. It's another great question. How can citizens who want to support Crosley and his family help in the clemency process? I think writing to your representatives and to Governor DeSantis would be a huge help. So if folks want to write their representatives, and Governor DeSantis is certainly the elected representative that has the ability, has the power to do the right thing here, that would certainly be helpful. We're going to be, reaching out to the governor's office, reaching out to the parole board, and we invite the citizens who believe in justice and believe in the state doing the right thing and want to assist and help in our fight for Crosley's freedom, by all means, write the governor. We certainly will. We certainly will. And we'll probably do that through our Facebook page. And our Facebook page is called Justice for Crosley Green. So we will have a template on that. We're going to look for other ways to engage both the public and all of Crosley's many supporters in this next phase of our fight for Crosley's freedom. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good afternoon. Interviews are available if you're interested.